Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Tombow Dual Brush Pens. These water-based pens have two tips, a flexible brush tip and a hard, fine point nylon tip on the other end. The brush tips are highly acclaimed and widely known for being great tools when hand lettering, and more specifically for brush lettering and calligraphy. There are a total of 108 available colors, including the colorless blender for shading. Here I have the swatches of the Bright and Galaxy palettes. They both came in packs of 10, including one colorless blender in each. Upon swatching them, the first thing that immediately caught my eye were the bright and vibrant colors. They are bold and definitely make a statement, which I am quite fond of. The Tombow Dual Brush Pens are extremely flexible, giving you a nice and thin upstroke and a very thick downstroke when doing calligraphy. It's satisfying to have a contrast in the strokes, and these pens do a wonderful job of giving the user the flexibility they need. Even when applying lots of pressure on my downstrokes, the brush tips are resilient and simply bounce back to their original position. There are many ways to blend the ink of the Tombow Dual Brush Pens, and I decided to test out two methods when brush lettering. For the first technique, I used the colorless blender and the Tombow blending palette. For a cheap alternative, you can use any plastic in place of the blending palette. After lettering the text with a base color, I scribbled the darker color onto the blending palette. Then, using the colorless blender, I picked up the ink and in short downstrokes, brushed on the darker color, as shown. When needed, I replenished the ink onto the colorless blender. In the end, I was really happy with the ombre effect and the result of this technique. Additionally, the ink on the blending palette simply wipes off with a paper towel, and the colorless blender fades back to its original state. For this next style of blending with the Tombow Dual Brush Pens, I chose colors next to each other on the color wheel. Then I placed the two tips of the brush pens together and let one bleed into the other. After about a minute, a beautiful ombre effect was created. And just as the colorless blender, the pigmented brush pen's color eventually faded back to its original hue. Now, I want to talk about the sound that the Tombow Dual Brush Pens make. They create a squeaky noise that can sometimes be irritating. It sounds like this. Many people talk about Tombow products as being very expensive, and I have to admit that I completely agree. Each dual brush pen retails for about $3 on Tombow's official website, and the popular 10 packs retail for $27. To combat that, first I would suggest searching around a bit, and I'm sure you'll find some good deals. Amazon is a great place to start, and I even found some low and reasonable prices on eBay that are significantly cheaper for the exact same packs and quality. Finally, I want to conclude with a brief summary of my final thoughts and opinions on the Tombow Dual Brush Pens. The only thing I would be aware of regarding colors is if you are buying the dual brush pens in packs, some colors might repeat. The Bright and Galaxy palettes both contain the shade 755. It is slightly disappointing Tombow couldn't have each palette unique with its own colors, so when buying multiple packs, there is more of a variety. Overall though, I'm happy that the color options are not limited. Following that, I found that the flexibility throughout the pens was a little inconsistent, as one or two were a bit more flexible than the others. But overlooking that minor issue, I am especially pleased with the flexibility of the brush tips. Most of them are not too stiff and not too flexible, creating a perfect balance for thin upstrokes and bold downstrokes. I'm super impressed with how the Tombow Dual Brush Pens blend naturally. However, the paper tends to fray quickly when brushing over it many times, making it difficult to mix the colors. The noise that these pens make is squeaky and annoying. However, it's excusable in my opinion, especially considering the stunning quality Tombow provides with these brush pens. After praising the brush tips, it's easy to forget that these are dual brush pens, meaning that there are two ends. The bullet tips are a great addition to have and are an ideal size. In conclusion, the Tombow Dual Brush Pens are pricey and have their little flaws and imperfections, but in the end, they are top quality and shine out in the crowd. I would definitely recommend these excellent dual brush pens for anyone who is interested in brush lettering, calligraphy, bullet journaling, and any other similar skills. I hope you enjoyed and happy hand lettering.